wow. Like, I got that message from Rune last night when I asked him how much is the price going to be. I got to let people know in this video. I just, wow. Wow. I'm starting to develop an appreciation for the finer things in life. Like this wine here, Kendall Jackson Grand Reserve, sent to me by my buddy Will Borza from Howie Weinberg Mastering over in California. The reason why I'm saying acquiring a taste for the finer things in life is because when I started as an engineer, I was new to the game. So I really needed basic, easy to use, intuitive resources and plugins and tools. And as I developed, I realized how far these tools could actually be pushed. And I've went on a journey to find the best and to continue finding the best. And when Kelvin Tone Shaper by Tone Projects came into my Instagram feed by none other than Mr. Craig Bauer, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know more. So I slid into Tone Projects DMs and was like, hey, can I review this video and release it when this drops? And they said, yeah, go ahead. Today is Wednesday when this video is dropping. For the last 3 days, I've been using this plugin across different sessions I've been working on, and I'm going to go through the features of this plugin, the specs, and share diary entries and my experiences actually using it so you can hear it in action, which is great. But before we do, I'm going to finish this because this does not feel safe next to my gear. Kelvin Tone Shaper by Tone Projects. Wow. I'm so glad to have tried this plugin and be showing it to you. I wouldn't be showing you anything that I think is shit. I'm going to show you things that I think is going to bring something to the table, and this does. Because typically, saturation tend to be one-trick ponies for one sort of thing, whereas this is super malleable. It's incredible, and I'll explain why. Let's look at the overview physically, then I'll go into what's going on underneath the hood, then you can see some of my diary entries. Physically, you've got gain and drive, and that makes the dual stage saturation. From gain and drive, then you can select which model you're going to use. Then on the right hand side, you've got a shaping parameter. Now, you can shape the frequencies that are going into the saturation and is going to affect the saturation most. And then post, you can reshape the balance of your signal. And these EQs sound great. They don't make things sound phasey and weird and shifting in an odd way. They work, they do their job, they come in, they come out, and they make sure that you're able to have control over the sound and the tone of that saturation, which for me is good. I don't want too many bells and whistles, but it really enhances the ability to sculpt things sonically with this plugin. A few other nice little features that I found using it was they've got these pull text style EQs, and they were cool. Like you're going to see in the later diary entry where I'm using it on a kick drum, and I'm just able to get this fatness out of it, which is really cool. The spread feature is really nice because I typically avoid widening plugins because they tend to introduce phase coherency issues and things that just make things not feel natural. But I actually use this one on the wider setting on a vocal in parallel, on a parallel vocal chain, and it gave the vocal a really nice width without making it sound unnatural or losing its presence in the mix. And the reason is the way they've programmed this is to make subtle differences harmonically between the left and right channel. So they're not necessarily shifting the phase directly, but they're just making subtle harmonic differences between the left and right in order to create that perception of it being wider to the listener. And it works really well. Another thing has to be this defuzz button. Now, I'm not going to say plugin manufacturers or names, but there's one particular plugin that some mixing engineers use. When they send it across to me for mastering, they send a mix across to me for mastering, I'll start hearing artifacts from it. And as soon as I tell them where the artifacts are, they know what's causing it, and they have to dial their saturation down on that plugin. Whereas in Kelvin Tone Shaper, they've got this defuzz option, and you can actually clean up artifacts introduced by the saturation stages. Honestly, I never used it while trialing this plugin over the last few days, but it's just really good to know they've thought about that and they've got that in here. Props to them. So here's what's going on under the hood. There's 8 different models of transformer, tube, and diode circuits, and each of them have their own tone. But what's really cool about each of these analog models, not only do they change the tone or harmonic structure in the way they respond to material, but they also change dynamically. So let's just put this together. If you've got dual stage saturation, 8 different models to choose from independently of one another, that gives you 64 potential possibilities of combinations in terms of tone you can create, just changing what sort of modeling you're using, which I think is incredible. That is insane. You've got so many options to choose from there. But then you add to that the capability to shape the way it reacts to the signal on the way in, pre-gain. Mind blown. Okay, this is real serious stuff as far as saturators go. So this next part is going to maybe scare you a little bit, because you're probably wondering, this sounds too good to be true, and if I end up liking this plugin, how much am I going to have to spend? Well, this is what's crazy. Kelvin Tone Shaper is retailing at $99. $99. All right, let's put that into perspective. I pulled some other numbers up here. I actually own another 2 saturation plugins. I own Blackbox Analog Design, that's Plugin Alliance's one, that's $249. And I also own Sound Toys Decapitator, which is $199. This is half or less than or more than half the price of both of those, and I just feel like this brings saturation to a whole new level. I can't believe the price. And at the moment, now it's release day, Rune for Tone Project is running 25% off. So look, it's not an affiliated sale, but if you'd like to purchase it, there's a link in the description, or even just try it. And then I can't get over how valuable that deal is. Like, it's groundbreaking. Wow. Like, I got that message from Rune last night when I asked him how much is the price going to be. I got to let people know in this video. I just wow. Wow. All right, guys, moving on. You want to see this plugin in action, don't you? Good. You do? That's great. Well, I've got diary entries in this video if you skip ahead another 10-20 seconds. But before you do, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I love finding plugins like this. I love teaching about the shit I love. Like, I do this every day. It's a passion for me. So smash the like button. Just smash it. All right, take care. End of day 1, big day in the studio on all Monday. It always is. 5 mastering sessions, 2 mixing sessions, and Kelvin got used on 2 of the mastering sessions. One of my clients was nice enough to let me use the audio in an example for this video, so I need to give him credit now, because absolute legend, really kind to do this, because he didn't have to. This song's not even going to be released until he puts it out. The artist is I Am Runes. You can find them on Instagram. The mixing engineer for this was Spike Leo, and I'm going to show you before and after with Kelvin, and then explain to you guys what I did and why I did it. So this first pass is going to be before, no Kelvin on it.
Here comes the fire, it's burning everything, it's past. Colors united, colors.
And this next pass is going to be with Kelvin on, and have a listen. Enjoy this.
Here comes the fire, it's burning everything, it's past. Colors united, colors.
All right, you heard that, yeah? You heard that. That gusto it gave to the low end, and that's exactly what I needed it to do, because this mix was really good. I didn't need to interrupt it too much, but I felt like the style of the song, the music itself, lent to having a little bit more sub energy. I felt like it would enhance it musically. And this morning when I loaded Kelvin in to, like, I installed it on my computer, went through it on Plugin Doctor, I remembered there were 2 modes in Kelvin that had a little bit of a bump in the subs, and one of them was boutique. And I'll show you this. This is from the linear analysis. Where are we? There we go. Drag that over there. See that little bump? It's not massive. It's not a huge movement in frequency, but it's just a little bump in the subs, a little bit in the top end. And I really wanted that in the subs, down low, really deep. That's like a 20 hertz. And it delivered there. It really did. It brought that oomph in. Now, in practice, the reason why I was able to do this and I enjoyed doing it is because I had this shaping function here. I was able to put a low shelf here, 100 hertz, just give it a 1 decibel boost, a bit of oomph on the way into the gain, and then it obviously compensates on the way out. But it just helped saturate the low end in a nice way, or the subs in a nice way that I felt was pleasant. Okay, it wasn't too much at all, and I'm not looking for too much in mastering. Through the ears of a mastering engineer, what I want to hear in a plugin, what I want in a plugin, is for it to do its thing and step away. And in this use case, it did that exactly. This was a great mix to start off with, and it just came in, gave me what I needed, but didn't disrupt the piece. It didn't start shifting the phase in any weird way or changing the overall character to the detriment of the mix. It just brought in what I needed it to, and then stepped back, which in my words, day one, that's great. Day two, using Kelvin Tone Shaper in the studio, I've went through 4 mastering sessions and 1 mixing session today. Of the 4 mastering sessions, Kelvin Tone Shaper was on 1 of them, and this was the message I got back from my client. That's pretty good. That's good. When my clients are happy, I'm happy. When this tool helps me, I have to let you guys know. Equally, I used it in mixing, and today I'm going to be showing you what I did with the kick drum, more of the tone shaping options to help a kick drum go from this to this. Before I show you exactly what I did and how I did it with the Kelvin Tone Shaper, I want to just say this is a relatively dense mix with quite a lot of plugins. I've got 4 different instances across the mix of Kelvin Tone Shaper, all set to high quality, and I'm not maxing out my CPU. The sessions are running smoothly, nothing's too laggy, and I'm actually, to many people's surprise to know, running it on a late 2015 iMac with a i7 quad-core 4GHz processor. These are the Geekbench scores. For me, the fact this computer is 6 years old and this plugin isn't killing it is nice. It's a testament to the developers and the programmers that they've put something together which is CPU efficient and high-grade quality. But let's get on to the fun bit. Audio, the kick drum. It's a trap tune and I want more oomph out of the kick. I really wanted to smack people in the chest, and this is where Kelvin came into play. Boutique, we know this from yesterday's diary entry. It has that sort of smiley face, that bump in the subs and bump in the top end, so that I had to use. But I also just sort of did a bit of trust by their descriptions. Dark iron, weight and thickness based on renowned iron core transformer. Don't know much about iron core transformers, but what I do like is weight and thickness because that's what I'm looking for, so I've selected that. Now, pre-gain, you can shape the equalization or shape the balance of the signal going in, and what I've chosen to do is use their Pultec style EQ, this EQP low, and crank the shit out of it pre-gain. And the reason being is I really want to saturate that low end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this over to a B version, and AB, everything at Unity going in, and then everything but with that low end boost using the Pultec style EQ going into the saturation. And then also I've done post-saturation, a boost in the subs, and I'll do that as well. I'll put that to 0 so you can hear just the saturation and then also the saturation with the shaping. And this is what's exciting about this plugin, is the fact that you're able to shape pre and post going into the saturation and coming out of it to really have full control and flexibility with the sound and the sonics that you're sculpting. And working on just one sound or one single sound source like a kick drum, there's a lot you can do. But I'm going to do a little bit more for you guys. I've got Plugin Doctor here with my settings that I use on that kick drum. And this is interesting because I'm going to get this up. All right. The models in Kelvin are highly detailed, level and frequency dependent models of analog circuits. They affect the harmonic structure, So here's a harmonic analysis of this setting. The headroom, the dynamics, and frequency response. So I've got the frequency response here, but what I haven't showed you is something really interesting, is the dynamics of it. So let's go attack and release here. Take a look at this. It's not a compressor, but the way the circuits and saturation are reacting is almost like a compressor-esque function, because it's creating this little bit of punch at the start of the transient because it's pushing down afterwards. And that's where I'm getting that bit more thud out of this Kelvin tone shaper, is because it's got this happening. It's got this going on. All right, guys, end of day 3, 5 mastering sessions, 2 of which I produced masters using Kelvin tone shaper, and it performed the way it did on day 1. It wasn't just the honeymoon period, it was also then I was able to use it in the project to saturate aspects of the mix without destroying everything, and it worked. It worked really well. I was super happy with it. Now, unfortunately, no audio examples from today's sessions, but I promise you guys, as I continue using this and learning new things about it, tutorials will come. If you want to see them and other things, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Before we wrap it up, so you stay with me, I'm going to give you my pros, my cons. Pros. You can manipulate sound or the saturation of sound at your will. This pre-gain and post-drive shaping that you've got on this, awesome. I absolutely love it. You're not going to find this quality saturation at this price, period. Okay, and also the workflow is incredible. Now, bones to pick. Okay, one bone to pick. It's the spread function. So the spread function on single sound sources, to my ears, was awesome. It allowed things to sit in the mix, keep their presence, but just add a little bit of subtlety out the sides. In mastering though, I don't know, it was a bit hit and miss sometimes to my ears. I felt like I was sometimes losing a little bit from it. But I don't want to dwell on that, because that's like it's this much compared to this much awesomeness, which I think needs to be commended. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below. If you want to go check this out, they've got a trial version. It's incredible. So hats off to Rune and his team. Thank you for letting me try this before it was released. I'm really humbled for the opportunity and very grateful as well, because I wouldn't have made this video if I didn't like it. Like, that's just, anything I put on here is my word, is what I'm doing, is what I'm using, is what I love, and I explored this over the last 3 days and I'm very impressed. So congratulations on getting this plugin out to the public, and until next time, take care.